emergency meeting so that the minister can come and brief us about the state of this particular project. And at the end of the day, we should be able to actually brief the general public.
Hello, good morning and welcome to the news here on 3FM 92.7. My name is Noble Crosby Annan. The bulletin is coming to you live from our studios here at Adisawe Kanda in Accra. We're live too on 3news.com. Coming up this morning, Roads and Transport Committee of Parliament to summon Roads Minister to emergency meeting to answer questions on payment of some $2 million for the Sky Train.
I believe that from tomorrow, the chairman of the committee has to call for emergency meeting so that the minister can come and brief us about the state of this particular project.
Also this morning, both police and military have denied allegations by Chief Director of the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources of engaging land guards to reclaim the encroached lands.
Even the military, even the Ghana Armed Forces, there are lands that have been encroached by people. They hire Jato to reclaim for them. The Ghana police, in particular, Jato reclaim their land for them.
Also in this bulletin this morning, a political researcher with the Kumasi Technical University, Professor Smart Sapon, cautions the new patriotic party to be strategic with opening of nominations for orphan constituencies.
If it is for people to kind of get somewhere safe to be in the event that they do not secure the appointments or perhaps the entire government changes, then that has some potential of confusion or disturbing the peace, the unity of the party at the base.
We have details of these stories and a lot more coming to you shortly. Please stay with us. Welcome to the program this morning. We're starting off the morning with this, and the Roads and Transport Committee of Parliament has indicated it will summon the Railways Minister to answer questions on the payment of some $2 million for Sky Train. The Ghana Infrastructure Investment Fund paid $2 million to a South African company for the construction of a Sky Train infrastructure in Accra. The 2021 Auditor General report stated that the Africa Investor Consortium Holdings was yet to obtain a license to operate in the country. In September 2022, the minority called on the Auditor General to invoke its constitutional powers and call for the prosecution of the board and management of the Ghana Infrastructure Investment Fund for payment of the $2 million for the project. Vice Chairman of the Roads and Transport Committee of Parliament, Alex Tete, says the committee will further probe the matter.
The chairman of the committee has to call for emergency meeting so that the minister can come and brief us about the state of this particular project. And at the end of the day, we should be able to actually brief the general public. But what I'm saying is that as a nation, we should be mindful about whatever we do. And if you read the Constitution, Article 34, Clause 8, actually state that the state should be able to eradicate corruption from the system. So if you have awarded a contract of the tune of $2 million and nothing has been done, I think Ghana deserves better, and we need our money to develop other sectors.
Well, he's also calling for a refund of all the monies paid the company.
I support the call from the minority for the company to refund the money to government chest, since they have not been able to actually execute the project as stated.
You hear the voice of the Vice Chairman of the Roads and Transport Committee of Parliament, Alex Tete, speaking there. To some other stories this morning, and the Ghana Armed Forces and police have refuted allegations of hiring a notorious land guard, popularly known as Jato, to reclaim their lands that have been encroached. The Chief Director of the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, Professor Patrick Agwesiyale, reportedly made the revelation on Monday, July 10, during a meeting with Parliament's Lands and Forestry Committee. Now here are excerpts of the interaction the Chief Director had with the committee.
If he's selling it, then there's noise all over the place. Jato has, he doesn't even sell it. He also gives it out for people to develop. Like he gets a share. And I can give you a long, tall list of litany of land that Jato has cleared for us. To the extent that even the military, Even the Ghana Armed Forces, there are lands that have been encroached by people. They hire Jato to reclaim for them. The Ghana police, in particular, Jato reclaims their land.
So those are excerpts of the conversation between the Chief Director of the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, Professor Patrick Agbensi-Yali, making these revelations during a meeting with Parliament's Lands Committee. While the military says the allegations are false and unimaginable, the police service also says the claims are baseless and should be treated with the contempt that it deserves. Let's do some politics this morning, and a political researcher with the Kumasi Technical University, Professor Smart Sapin, was cautioned the New Patriotic Party, the NPP, to be strategic with the opening of nomination forms for orphan constituencies. Some young appointees of the Akufo-Addo-led government are set to cause an upset in the upcoming NPP parliamentary primaries. Notable among the lot are the Director of Communications at the Presidency, Junahin, for the Utu-Senya West constituency. Also, Director of Operations at the Presidency, Lord Kome, will face off with Deputy Communications Director, also at the Presidency, for the Ablikuma Central constituency. But Professor Smart Sapon says the party should be strategic about the exercise to prevent chaos in the party. Listen to him.
What is the case? Is it that the sitting MP needs to be changed? And there are cases like that. I hear from people in Achima, in Punia area, if it is for people to kind of get somewhere safe to be in the event that the next government, they do not secure the appointments or perhaps the entire government changes, then that has some potential of breeding apathy, breeding confusion, or disturbing the peace, the unity of the party at the base. And I'm sure by now, the NPP would be learning lessons from what happened prior to 2020, where the general feeling was that some state machinery were imposing some candidates on them. It cost them a lot, and I don't think it's going to repeat itself this time.
Professor Smart Sapon is a political researcher with the Kumasi Technical University, speaking there. Away from that to some other subjects this morning, and fresh calls have emerged for government to immediately implement an emergency strategic plan to salvage Ghana's sector, the energy sector particularly. Earlier, the World Bank's Managing Director of Operations, Anna Burge, encouraged Ghana's government to introduce measures to address the country's energy issues, warning that Ghana risks having financial burdens on the state, diverting resources from other crucial areas if it did not take steps to address the issues.
So this needs an urgent attention. I can only say it needs an urgent attention. And you really need to work across the spectrum of energy, the Ministry of Finance, the social protection, to be able to put this very comprehensive package of emergency measures in place. And you need to invest in this billing and collection and metering systems to be able to get it done quickly. So it's not rocket science. It's difficult. It requires a lot of attention day to day to get it done. It can be done.
You had the voice of the World Bank's Managing Director of Operations, Anna Burge, speaking there. But for the Africa Center for Energy Policy, government can begin by cutting losses in the generation and distribution chain.
Given the state is in, we need to have urgent, measures to really ensure that the sector is sustainable. When it comes to revenue distribution, the ESRP, that's the Energy Sector Recovery Program, brought out a cash waterfall mechanism to ensure that there's fairness and equity in revenue distribution among the sectors or the various entities along the power value chain.
Now, before we go this morning, the Council of State has requested for more time to get the three dismissed unionized workers of Sununa Sogli reinstated. Secretary General of the TUC, Dr. Yaban, who addressed the news conference in Accra, says Labour has not lost the fight to get the three reinstated, but will continue to mount pressure on the Council of State to act swiftly. Meanwhile, the intended strike by Labour has been suspended indefinitely. Dr. Yaban, Secretary General of the TUC.
What we are asking for is very simple, that our three brothers should be reinstated. And this has been our demand consistently from the time we started this. So the Council of State has asked us for time, They have involved other stakeholders, including the presidency. It is unfortunate that our brothers are still at home. They still have not been reinstated. But we haven't lost hope because state institutions, including the Council of State, even the presidency, is involved. So we are allowing some more time to see what we can get from them. And as I said earlier, our demand is very simple. Our 3 brothers should be reinstated, and we are expecting that to happen soon.
Dr. Yalba is Secretary General to the TUC. Ending the morning news here on 3FM 92.7. There's always more news on our website, 3news.com. Please log on for more. My name is Noble Crosby Annan. Good morning.